Bitcoin experienced the biggest crash in a long time, and the Japanese market has the biggest crash for decades right now. Taiwan stock market has the biggest crash in 57 years. Volatility index is on the same level as the 2020 pandemic crash and also the 2008 financial crisis. The legendary undefeated never wrong recession indicator is right now flashing, which is actually very bad for the market. Even worse, in the Middle East, the war conflict is actually heating up right now, and this could actually escalate and bring even more panic. How much more can Bitcoin fall, and is now the time to go long and to buy Bitcoin, or to go short and make money on the way down? While everyone is panicking and having fear, today we will look at everything from A to Z so you're perfectly prepared for the market and you can position yourself in the best way possible and make the most out of this one time in a life opportunity. Alright, welcome to a new video. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe, hit the ring bell. As always, I have my black tea right here and also I have my fennel tea. Today is a very important day because today is a massive opportunity which most people actually will miss unless you watch this video. Then you will be perfectly prepared for this once in a lifetime opportunity. If you have a sharp eye, you will see that I'm actually in a different room right now because I just recently moved to a new villa. So the studio is slightly different. Comment down below how you like it. The setup essentially is very similar, but anyway, I appreciate your feedback. First of all, Bitcoin tanked over 20% and Ethereum actually over 25%. Now we got a small pump. But first of all, let's discuss the reason. Now the main event here is that the BOJ, the Bank of Japan, increased their interest rate for the first time since 17 years. Now previously, the interest rate in Japan was actually between 0 to 0.1%. However, a few days ago, they raised it to 0.25%. The big problem here is that many investors borrowed the Japanese yen essentially for free, not paying almost any interest, and they used the money to invest, for example, in US stocks and other assets in America. Because of course, you can get the money for free, but get a way higher return in America. However, many of these investors have to de-risk their investment and sell their assets to buy back the Japanese yen and to pay off the loan, because of course right now the money which was free now costs money. Now this of course is a big warning sign, and the Japanese bank did this to actually counter the rising inflation. Now this of course dragged down the Japanese market, and this has been the worst crash since 1987. On this chart we can see that this has been the biggest two-day drop on the Nikkei. The Nikkei just simply is the 225 biggest companies in Japan. It's the index similar to the S&P 500 in America, and this was the biggest drop, even more than the Black Monday. So for Japan, completely catastrophic. Also, same thing for Taiwan. Now you have to understand that Japan is a very big dominant market in the world. Now of course, if the Japanese stock market is crashing, this also brings down all the other assets. And as I already told you, lots of US assets got sold and people bought back the Japanese yen. And we can also see the exact same thing on the chart. So for example, right here, this is the Nikkei. The Nikkei, the Japanese index here, dropped a lot, 20%. And also the American market. Here we can see the Nasdaq. These are the top 100 tech companies in America, also dropped by over 10%. Now, on the other hand, the US dollar weakened and the Japanese yen strengthened. Why? Very simple. People are selling US denominated assets and they are buying the Japanese yen. So previously, here for example, you could get 154 Japanese yen for $1. But now you can only get right here 144, which means of course Japanese yen increasing in value and the dollar decreasing. On top of that, let's have a look at the VIX. The VIX is just simply the volatility index. Now, right now, we had a peak here of 64 level on the VIX. The two other times when the VIX was this high actually was during the pandemic in 2020 and also in the 2008 financial crisis. The volatility was insane because the selling pressure was so high. Now we can see the VIX cooled off a little bit, but it's still quite high. Next, as many of you guys might know, this year we have the US presidential election, which means this year it will get decided who will be the president in America for the next 4 years. So right now the main two candidates are of course Donald Trump, who was previously leading in probability, but right now Kamala actually increased in probability that she will actually become the president. Long term for crypto, this doesn't matter. Crypto does not need any politician. Bitcoin is decentralized and the crypto market especially will find its own way. However, for this bull run, it will actually be better if Trump were to get elected, because he would make many things easier, especially for things like ETFs, like for example a potential Solana ETF for next year. So right now it doesn't look good for him. However, we have a few more months left, and like I said, in the long run, it will not matter too much. Now, the next thing here I want to talk about here is this indicator. This here is the SAM rule recession indicator. This indicator has not been wrong a single time in the last 65 years. And every single time this indicator is going up like this, a recession has been happening after. Just simply explained, every single time when the unemployment rate increases more faster, that's when the indicator is actually increasing here. Because of course, in the economy, it's very important that you have a very high employment rate. Now, of course, if many people get unemployed, those workforces are missing in the economy and the revenues for the companies will be lower and the people have less money to spend, which again, in return, is worse for the economy. So if you can see that the unemployment rate is increasing faster, this is a very, very bad sign and can lead to a recession, like how every single time it was like here. Next, let's cover our friend Mt. Gox. They still have 2.4 billions of Bitcoins, which they will pay back to their creditors. Now, to be honest, this is the least worries right now. We have way bigger issues such as the Japanese crash and all the other crashes in the market. Now, also, we have right now an escalating Middle East war potentially right here. And I don't want to go into too much detail, but of course, this is very bad for the people living there and also for the economy and also the market, such as Bitcoin and all the stocks. If this conflict were to escalate even more, this could actually add to the panic and we could see another sell-off to lower levels on Bitcoin and other assets. So this here is one thing which we have to closely monitor. For everyone who's new here, I want to explain one simple thing. In America, the Federal Reserve, aka the main central bank in America, which is a private corporation, they have a huge impact on the economy. Why? Because they control the interest rates at which people can borrow money, and also they control essentially the money printer. Previously, it was planned that they will actually decrease the interest rate in September in the next meeting. However, because of this massive crash right now, they're actually thinking about doing an emergency meeting this week. Now, this actually might be a double-sided sword. Why? On the one hand, if they decide, for example, that they will decrease the interest rate further, faster, and sooner, this on the one hand you can think, okay, this is actually good because new liquidity can enter the market easier and this will actually be buying pressure or indirect buying pressure for all the assets. On the other hand, if actually the Federal Reserve went ahead and said, yes, okay, we will decrease the interest rate by, let's say, 75 points, okay, or even earlier, like this week, for example, this might validate the panic and this might prove and confirm to everyone that the Federal Reserve actually, in fact, is late to the party. And to be honest, in my opinion, they are quite late. Based on this meeting and based on their forecast, we can make a much better decision for the long term. So we have to keep a close eye on this meeting. The strongest real helpline in the market will be two things. Number one, the Middle East conflict de-escalating, meaning panic leaves the market, which creates certainty for the market. And also, if the Japanese bank, the BOJ, Bank of Japan, actually decrease the interest rate again, this would essentially give investors hope and they could borrow again money at a lower rate and invest in the market, which means inflow in the market, which means the dollar would gain again in strength and the Japanese yen would actually again come down a bit, which will be also healthy for the market. This week, it will be very interesting what the inflows on the Bitcoin ETFs will be. Okay, if we have inflows, aka if the institutions will actually buy the dip or if they sell even more this week. Same thing also for the recently opened Ethereum ETFs. As you guys might know, we previously had only mostly outflows because of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which now is a Grayscale Bitcoin ETF. So especially for the Ethereum ETFs, this could be a little bit more bloody compared to Bitcoin. Also, in the last 24 hours, we had $792 million of long liquidations. Now, previously, this was over $1 billion, but now we got a small recovery, which actually resulted also in lots of shorts getting liquidated. Now, let's cover the liquidation heat map. Now, I want to ask you guys, how many times did we talk about this liquidation right here on this channel? I think minimum 3 times, more like 4 or 5 times. These levels, which we are on right now, which is the 50K range, is the same price that Bitcoin was actually just this year. So this year was a big accumulation area before Bitcoin really took off right here. So right now, all those longs which got opened in this area actually got washed out once again. Now the bad news, we still got lots of liquidity in the 41K to 47K range. And worst case scenario, which I think is very unlikely, but it will be right here at the $34,000 level, and we can see here a massive yellow stripe. Now let's jump in the charts and let me show you something very important. We will start with the weekly chart on Bitcoin. Now this here essentially is the zoomed out chart, and this massive drop and fear on the weekly chart is just simply a little drop here like this. And the good news is also, this could be just simply a bounce on the 50 EMA like this, okay? And this actually is a quite bullish candle, and we could see, for example, another hammer candle with a higher wick like this, and this would be a very strong reversal point to the upside like this. Now, this here is the daily chart. We have 2 very important levels. Number 1, we have this support right here from the previous low like this, and we have a retest of the previous high of January 2024. Now, if we don't hold these two levels, we can easily go down all the way to here, because in here we have the highest volume traded. Now, this here essentially would be the point of control of the previous area right here, because we can see here we got volume here, meaning buying interest, and also here. But from here to here, we don't have much interest. Now, the technical term for this would be a minus distribution, which means not much volume is actually traded here, which means that if we lose this support right here, we can easily go down all the way to here in this range. Now, me personally, I just bought lots of Ethereum and Bitcoin just this morning, but I am prepared in case we lose this level from price action to also buy more here and also here. If I did not have any Bitcoin right now, I would buy some Bitcoin right now and keep some for later in case we go lower, because like I said, the Middle East conflict could escalate even more, which could add panic, and also the Federal Reserve could also mess everything up and drag the market down even more as well. So we have multiple risks in the horizon, and we have to be prepared for all scenarios. I can't believe how many people have been trying to catch this falling knife on Twitter and YouTube and go along in this downward momentum. Right now, we have two big risks. Number one, the EMAs are sloped down a lot. This means what? This means the momentum downwards is very high, and also the RSI is very, very oversold, which means the momentum downwards is very high. There are only two scenarios where you can find a very good and safe long entry. Number one, we come up a bit, for example, and we have an equal low on the price in this zone right here, but not lower, like I said, because otherwise the risk is high that we drop even lower, and the RSI makes a way higher low, okay? So the price has an equal low, and the RSI makes a way higher low. Also, even better, the price makes a lower low or even lower low here, but the RSI makes a way higher low. In both cases, you have a very reliable chance for a reversal trade, and even if we just come up a little bit, you have way enough time to take a stop loss above break even and to be in a risk-free trade, which potentially you could scale up endlessly as we come higher and higher, and as we come far away from your stop loss level like this. So this here is what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for an equal low or a lower low in this vicinity and to have an RSI bullish regular divergence. Now let's zoom in even more on the hour chart, because right now we have two risks. Number one, we could see a reversal point, for example here in the 50 area, which is in confluence with a retest of the support box here, also with a lower high, but the RSI makes a higher high, which is also known as a bearish hidden RSI divergence. This setup is very strong because we have three reasons. Number one, divergence. Number two, the 50. Number three, the retest. But of course, we want to see some price action right here, such as a rejection, such as evening star, retracing wicks, three-line strike, etc., etc. Also, if you want to be a little bit more sneaky and precise with your entry, you can also zoom in the 24-minute chart or 12-minute chart and find a better entry on those price levels once you are in this vicinity right here, to again have a good shot of shorting either down to this level, which is this order block right here, and we could see an LSOB reversal. If you don't know this setup, just watch this video right here. It's the best, most consistent setup in the whole world. Or, like I said, we see an equal low or lower low with a bullish RSI divergence. So in both cases, you have a good short setup and a good long setups, and in both cases, you have a very high chance of a good reaction. So in both cases, you can take a stop loss above break even and be in a risk-free trade if you do it in a smart way. And those two trades are also what I'm looking for and preparing for right now. Now, this here is the Ethereum weekly chart. Same thing as Bitcoin on the weekly chart. Now, of course, on Bitcoin, we only got a bounce on the 50. On Ethereum, actually, we had a bigger drop now all the way down here to the 200 EMA. So just from a value perspective, Ethereum dropped more than Bitcoin, and Ethereum is even more undervalued compared to Bitcoin. So if you are higher risk, such as me, for example, I'm very high risk, I am mostly invested in Ethereum, and I'm going to focus more on my Ethereum swing trade a bit more than on Bitcoin. Now, this, of course, is my own preference, but we can just see that Ethereum got dragged down even more. And if you look at it, the altcoins got dragged even more down. However, I would not touch any altcoins right now. I would only touch Ethereum and Bitcoin, and also have a plan, because depending on how much you invested now and how much money you have left over, you have to be smart with how you divide your capital. Now let's also zoom in on the daily chart. On the daily chart, it looks horrible, okay? We have a lower low on the price, and the RSI also makes a way lower low. On Ethereum right now, I would not look for any long trades on the daily. That's why we have to actually zoom in on the 4-hour chart. Again, not the best. We are crazy oversold, and usually when the price actually is this much oversold, the market usually has a bounce, okay? Rejection here, for example, or here, And then, like I said, either we come down again to the order block right here if we have one. Now, in this case, actually, we don't have one because technically speaking, the LSOB order block would be actually all the way this. That's why actually I would mostly focus on a regular bullish RSI divergence, such for example, an equal low on the price, okay, and a way higher low on the RSI. This also is a very good, reliable reversal trade. And like I said, even worst case, if you get a bounce like this and then go lower, you have enough time here to go break even and to take partial profits or to be completely risk-free in this trade. Now this here essentially for me is a no-brainer, and that's where my focus is on Ethereum and also on Bitcoin, on the 1 hour, on the 24 minutes, on the 12 minutes, to have a new short and a new long in both directions, depending on what price action we see. If you are new here, I recommend you 3 videos, and I will link all 3 videos for you in the pinned comment. So after this video, I recommend you watch the videos, refresh your memory, and get prepared right now, because Bitcoin and Ethereum are very low right now, and I suggest you make the most out of this opportunity. Also, for everyone who is scalping on the 1-minute chart, right now Pepe and also Bread are insane to trade, especially the advancing wick pattern. Both coins have insane volume, insane liquidity, and also the price moves are ridiculous. For example, from here to here, that's like 1.8%, or even this move here from here to here, small move, okay, is like 5% on Bread. Right now on Pepe and Bread, you have the advancing wicks pattern one after another non-stop. This week, I'm gonna make a very important update post in Discord, which you can also join for free. I will link it for you in the pinned comment. This is where we have all the focused and motivated traders. And this week, in this dangerous time, I will post all the important updates in Discord. I will link the Discord in the description right here, and also in the pinned comment, so you can join either like this or also in the pinned comment. All you need is an account either on BitGet or on CoinCatch, which you made with my link. This way you have the best trading conditions on BitGet and CoinCatch with my link, because you save an insane amount of trading fees. And this also gives you access to the Discord, because right here, when you join, you just go to get verified, and then you input your BitGet user ID, either here in this ticket tool, or if you don't want to do KYC, or if you're from the UK or the US, you can use CoinCatch, which is the non-KYC version of BitGet, and just simply put your user ID right here from the account which you made with my link, either like this or with this link right here, and then you get access. And once you're verified and accepted, then you can see all those channels and you can see all my update posts on Discord. And you're also part of the best, most motivated trading community in the world. In summary, get focused now, make a plan now, watch this video or this video, get prepared, join Discord and get my updates. I would appreciate if you give the video also a like. Thank you for your intense support. I will see you in the next video, either here or here. Much love and peace, and ciao.